Live, look at Lucas Oil Stadium this morning. All quiet there, but you know what? Big happenings there tonight. The NFL draft gets underway tonight, and they have some celebrations there. And we do have a little rain on the way as we get closer to the weekend, but not today. It looks like it's going to be an absolute beautiful day ahead.
Not going to rain on your parade
Did you see the windows open?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Oh, they're airing the place out.
Got to air it out. We're going to have a lot of people there maybe later today for the NFL draft. At 6 o'clock on your Thursday morning, yes, we are close to the weekend, although we know we're looking forward to, not forward to it, but looking ahead to possibly some storms moving in our area.
I don't think it's going to be a big deal today. Now, tomorrow is going to be a transition. In fact, 80s today, 70s tomorrow, 60s on Saturday. So it's Indiana. We're going to be all over the place. I did want to start.
Back to 60,
I did want to start with the 80s, though, ladies, because we've had 3 80-degree days this year so far. On the 18th, the 2nd, and way back in March 28th, we got up to 81 degrees. Well, today could be the warmest day of the year so far at 84. We say good morning to all of you in Brownsburg, you Bulldogs and the Quakers in Plainfield, the Orioles in Avon at 54, also 54 in Pendleton and in Franklin. It's warmer in Martinsville at 55, 53 in Richmond, 57 both in Greenwood and Shelbyville, and 56 in Greencastle this morning. As we go through the day today, I believe most of the day will be dry. Now, there is a chance that coming up from the south, we could see the formation of some spotty showers or a thunderstorm. I think most of you probably don't get that, but we're not ruling that out, all right? In the meantime, look at this developing storm. There were a series of severe thunderstorm warnings in Oklahoma City. We have one delay at the airport this morning, and it is right there in Kansas City with thunderstorms to the north. If you're headed to the airport this morning, looking good. Sunshine, 71 by 11 a.m. And coming home from work and school, again, that chance of a thunderstorm. But overall, many of you have dry weather at 83 for that warmest day of the year so far. Well, Matt, you know, one of the things I've been noticing throughout the day and yesterday is, boy, the gas prices are all over the place this morning.
They are. So just looking at Marion County, it's kind of shocking, just the spread. Now, I will say most of them are not in the $2 range, but we did find some gas this morning. They're around $2.81, a couple different stations around the Speedway area. So if you are headed to the track later today, maybe go ahead and fill up. Our highest price is $3.19. So if you see a $3.19, you might find something just a little bit better if you just look around. But the average price is $3.11. Just from 30 days ago, not much change. We're down a cent from yesterday, but we've kind of seen some fluctuations within the past 30 days. So keep that in mind as you're driving around. Julia?
All right, thank you, Matt. Well, this morning we are looking into a troubling trend that is raising some concerns all around Indiana. There's a shortage of prosecutors.
And we are this playing out is now in Howard County after a judge dismissed a murder charge against a man. Anna Chalker joins us now in studio. And is the suspect out of jail?
He is. He was released just a couple days ago. So this is Kevin Maddox, who we're talking about. He was one of 2 people that was convicted he was actually charged, my apologies, for a murder back in 2006 of Chad Rouse in Kokomo. So police say Maddox entered Rouse's house and held him at gunpoint during a suspected robbery and then shot Rouse in the back. So 17 years later, a Howard County grand jury indicted Maddox. But 2 days ago, his murder charge was dismissed. It wasn't because of lack of evidence, but because the Howard County prosecutor does not have enough staff to handle their workload. So in a motion filed earlier this week, the prosecutor says his office had just concluded a major murder trial, and they had another one set to begin in a few days. So that was when Maddox was released from jail. So in this motion, the prosecutor laid out the need for more funding. He says on his staff, they need 24 full-time deputy prosecutors. Right now, 11.
Yeah.
So it's a problem.
So crazy. And we do say that it's a trend. So this isn't just happening in Howard County.
No, it's a statewide problem. We know right now that the Prosecuting Attorneys Council, they say they need about 1,100 deputy prosecutors for the entire state to cover all of these cases. We only have about 660. That's a 40% difference. I mean, that's scary for these cases, especially if some counties may have more cases than others, different things like that.
We need help not only at a local but a state level too. But another question I have is there anything being done right now? You can identify the problem, but what's being done to fix that right now?
Well, there was, not anymore right now. So state lawmakers, they actually for this session were like, hey, we want to put out a House Bill 1006. It was kind of talking about the legislation and how to get more funding to these counties to fund for more prosecutors. When this was sent over to the Senate, the funding stripped away from that bill. So when it was voted, so this is now at the governor's desk without that legislation with the funding. We'll learn more about that, but they say on a personal local level, if they want more deputy prosecutors, the best thing is for them to kind of maybe go into a private practice.
I think that maybe seeing it play out like this, when you see murder charges being dropped, that maybe will spark some attention at the State House. Thank you, Anna.
Well, this morning, a man faces some charges in connection with the shooting on Easter Sunday. It's also raising questions about self-defense and personal property. This happened at the M Club Apartments near 56 and I-465 in Lawrence. 18-year-old Anthony Coleman is accused of shooting a 15-year-old who was trying to break into his girlfriend's car. Coleman told police he and his girlfriend were going to the gas station when several people in masks were by their vehicle. We do know that at last check, first responders took the 15-year-old to the hospital with what were described as life-threatening injuries.
Well, this morning we are also digging for more information after a deadly shooting in Lawrence. This was breaking yesterday morning here on 13 Sunrise near East 46th Street and North Franklin Road. We learned the victim died just after first responders got there. And at last check, Lawrence police say they did have a person of interest in custody, but we're checking back in to see if police have made an arrest or if that person has been released.
It doesn't matter what happened. I'm going to fight for him. That's my son, the way that I raised him.
This morning, we are hearing from a family that is finally getting some answers after a 19-year-old was shot and killed on the southeast side of Indy. Now another 19-year-old is charged in his death.
The shooting happened more than a year ago on Springwind Lane. According to court documents, the shooter, 19-year-old Samuel Francher, was buying marijuana from Julius Parker Jr. There was an issue apparently over the payment, and that's when there was a struggle over the drugs and shots were fired. The victim's mother says this information was hard for her to read because she had no idea this was happening.
That is shocking to me, and it just broke me because we never raised him like that. His dad is a hard worker. We worked so hard, and Judas was well loved. He had everything.
Well, we did speak with Julius's parents about seeing the person in court that killed their son, and they told us they don't care how long it takes. When they get their day in court, they do plan to be at every hearing until they get a final verdict. It's 6:07, and this morning we're hearing more about a push to bring new recruits to Indy's police force. This comes as IMPD is facing a significant staffing shortage. We've talked about this for years now, as the department currently has more than 1,400 officers, but there's a need and a budget to have around 1,700. So that shortage is about 300 officers. So Northwest District did host an event last night for Hoosiers that are interested in wearing the badge.
This is one of the things that we do to make sure that we are kind of getting out to the community. So these open houses, visiting other recruiting events, hosting our own events, being where we can be within the community. I think that's a great opportunity for people to, one, have that interaction with us, whether they want to be officers or not.
There have been some strides to keep officers on the force. There was a new contract ratified last year to give them a 24% raise and boost the starting salary for an officer to about $72,000. If you're interested in applying and want to read more about the qualifications, you can check that out online now.
Coming up on 6:09 this morning, there's a new program to help improve interactions between police and people with disabilities. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office is calling it the Blue Envelope Program. It's meant to help police and people who may experience heightened anxiety or even communication challenges when interacting with officers. The program allows them to carry a blue envelope with important documents like their ID, vehicle registration, and emergency contact information. The program director tells us they can then get it out during a traffic stop to make officers aware they might be overwhelmed by the bright lights, flashing sirens, and especially if they don't know why they're being pulled over.
Unfortunately, this can be so overwhelming that you lose your ability to articulate things verbally and may even really externalizing that distress. And to the untrained eye, this can sometimes seem like people are acting out on purpose or that they're intoxicated when they're not.
So participation in this program, it's voluntary, but the Blue Envelope program, which launched in Connecticut first in 2020, and it has since expanded to several states across the country because of its success.
At the State House, some major changes are proposed to Indiana's tobacco tax, which is part of an effort by lawmakers to make up a more than $2 billion shortfall in expected revenue for the budget.
Governor Mike Braun and Republican leadership announcing a final budget plan that involves cuts to higher education and public health. It also calls for raising the tax on cigarettes and other tobacco products. GOP leaders say the budget funds priorities while staying within the state's means. Democrats, though, say they still need to digest this proposal because they say they weren't consulted about it. In just a few hours, drivers will be back out at IMS for the high boost session. That means drivers will be pushing their cars even harder at faster speeds than they did yesterday.
Well, last year's Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden is aiming for win number 3 this year. Take a listen.
For me, it's all just fun to be out here now, and I mean that, with full sincerity. I want to win more than anything this year. That's all I'm focused on, is just coming out and trying to produce a winning car, deliver a winning race. If it happens to be our year, we're going to go for it, and if that means 3 in a row, then that's just happens to be the circumstances.
So again, high boost testing out at IMS today. It is open to the public if you'd like to get out to the track yourself.
Well, this morning, the Trump administration's facing a lawsuit from several states over its tariff policy.
At 6:15, why states are filing that lawsuit and what it means for tariffs moving forward.